The short-term suspension policy 4351 states that before a student receives an out-of-school suspension, quote, the student has the right to be present at an informal hearing, but does not have the right to have a parent or other representative present. Okay, so now think about a 4, 5, 6, or 7-year-old child at this hearing who, quote, shall be informed of the charges and the basis for the accusations against him or her, and may make statements in defense or mitigation of the charges. The student also may request that the principal hear from persons whom the student claims can speak on his or her behalf. If the student reasonably claims the need for additional time to present such persons, the principal may postpone action for a reasonable time, end quote. I don't think it's reasonable to expect any 4, 5, 6, or 7-year-old child to do those things, let alone even think about them. Would you consider having the policy committee review policy 4351 and revise it to allow a parent the right to be present at an informal hearing for their 4, 5, 6, or 7-year-old, either in person, over the phone, or on a Zoom call? Thank you.
Okay, so question is, consider a revision to the policy. Let's go ahead and start the clock. Anyone willing to? Mr. McManus.
I don't know the validity of who and where what you said takes place or other places, but the question that you read bothers me. If that is a parent, any child, a parent has a right to be involved from the beginning. Now, if I'm asking you if you did something, that's a different story. But if you did it, then I need to involve the parent. So I don't know if that's something that the policy committee would want to review or not. I don't know, again, everything, even the 556, the validity. But the way you said it was that kids were called in and the parents were not involved.
Ms. Craven.
Yeah, I would just say that, first of all, we don't suspend 4-year-olds at all. And 5, 6, and 7-year-olds, we've already adopted the policy that it's last resort. And like I've been speaking with with same in line with Mr. McManus, is we would never do that, to a little kid. But I think before it even comes to policy, we should check with, Julie Barnum and Dr. Faust and all of those school system people who are responsible for that before it should come to policy. I mean, we need to verify what that says. That is the first time I've ever heard it put in that regard, and I just can't even imagine any principal sitting a little 5-year-old down and doing that. So that would be my suggestion, that it's not time for policy for that.
Ms. Mason?
I actually just looked up exactly what you read, and I do see it right there, and it is definitely concerning. Even if a child isn't 4, 5, or 6, I think a parent should be present. Parents should know what's going on with their kids, and I think I don't think it's a terrible idea to look at it in policy.
Any additional comments? Ms. Bradford?
I'd be willing, based on looking at that. I don't want a 4, 5, 6, or 7-year-old not to have the right to have a parent there.
At least, and if I could add, being an ex-elementary principal, you may have a situation where you can't reach somebody, but at least make that phone call. I got Johnny or Susie or whoever it may be in my office. We're talking about this, that, or the other thing. I'm going to put you on speakerphone so you can at least be part of that conversation. So.
Yeah, and I would echo that sentiment. I think at any level, it's the heartstrings of the 4, 5, and 6-year-old, but at any level, when you're talking about a child who is clearly expressing issues that's going on, we need to involve the family unit. And so sometimes that's a parent or guardian, and or sometimes that looks like a child advocate. And so we need to be cognizant of who those adults are in those kids' lives. And so I wrote it down on my paper, so as I make policy. So thanks for bringing that up.
All right, thank you all. Let's reset the clock.